Okay, we're going to continue Reish Mem Vav Siv Dalet. Yisrael shehisker shvarim le'eni Yehudi lachish b'hem echorish b'hem. A person rented out his animal. We learned yesterday you have a say of leman yanuach sharcha v'chamorcha. You're not allowed to. You have a chiyav a say that you're not allowed to use your behema on Shabbos. What's the halacha if you rent it out to a guy? So it's a machlekes. The armatir, I want to say yesh matirim in kibel olav aini yudi achrayis misa ugzela v'gneva v'yukar v'zula. Then in such a scenario where the person has the animal, and not only does he have the animal in his rishus, he also has all practical implications. Whether the price goes up or down, he's going to have to give that value. The yesh aimrim, some are machmer and say the kivin she'enei yudi yachal l'machar mitzvah. If he doesn't want to, he won't be able to sell it. Nikras behemas Yisrael, it's still called the din of Yisrael, behemas Yisrael, that has that say leman yanuach sharcha v'ayin lamata b'siman zeh. We're going to go into sifhei much more in depth between these two yesh oimrim and the yesh matirim, between these two shitas. So let's see the Mishna Berura. The Mishna Berura says in kibel olav, he's going in the first shita that's a little more mekel. Da'idei zeh hava behema k'moy shalayin yudi. And therefore be allowed to use it on Shabbos. Even though after Shabbos he's going to give it back. Right now on Shabbos itself, it's totally in his rishus. And the Sharatzin explains, this is the punchline, that it's yukar v'zula. However, if it wasn't yukar v'zula and you're just chayv and einzin, then you're no different than a regular shoyel. However, once there's yukar v'zula involved, that takes it to the next level. Okay, then we continue the Mishna Berura. It says, V'ayin lamata. Hainu, the shnei yesh matirim, akotzusham. We're going to see these two matirim. We're going to go through. V'gam agosha b'soif v'sem muchach t'sirah l'kedas matirim. We're going to see that momentarily. V'ayin mashe nichtasham. So let's right away jump into Sif Hey. So we had Sifdal that brought down two shitas. Some hold as long as you have yukar v'zula, which are the mekilim. Some hold that if you rent out an animal, you must have an option unless he could sell it. So let's go right into Sifhei. Here we're discussing where you're not renting out, rather you are shuttif in the animal. We want to say that you're allowed to do malach on Shabbos. What you can do as long as you make a tanai with the guy. That if you saw b'yam chol. Very simple. Tonight we learned this earlier already. They can make such a tanai. However, once you do not make such a tanai, then it's asur. Once the partnership is ready in play, it's already too late. However, we want to give a scenario, a patent where it might be mutter. Is basically you're giving a regular avah. The animal is worth $200. You give the animal, your value is $100. You give it an alva. You tell the guy who's a shut of yours, you'll tell him, here, take this. I'm lending you $100 with this behema, and therefore it's totally yours. Like that, it's mutter because it's a regular alva. It belongs to him. However, even though he's not allowed to go sell it, in a scenario you make him a paitki. Pirush, we all know a paitki means a paitki. If he doesn't pay him back, he's going to have to pay back specifically from this animal. Or Yahar name, which means you're going to make it a mashkin. So you're going to give that guy an animal for $100. You're going to say, here's $100 avah, but I'm taking the animal, I'm holding on to the animal as a mashkin. So blush Yisrael around that it can be that retroactively it's going to come back today. Let's stop over here and jump into the Mishna Berura. So we said with the Mishnah we're talking about, you have a person who's a shuttif. So in the beginning we said as long as you make it tonight, the nimtza, the loy knuya behem lisok klal b'yam Shabbos, because that was the agreement. Like we already learned in the beginning, Reish Mem Hey said base this halacha. The gam, another point is again we learned this in Reish Mem Hey, it is mut. However, if you didn't make it tonight, it's already too late. He tells him, and I'm going to take against you. There's no shis the guy has a chelik in it. He's not even asking you. Still, it's a different issue. Not the issue of Aseh Shvisas Behemte, rather the different issue of what? Okay. And then we're saying Afa Pisha Hisluchak is not going to help. The Lashon is a mashma, the Kol Shekain, the Imlayis Bechlal, the Asr. If you didn't Bechlal, make it tonight. But if you say Mitzad Laim Adaf, and the Achash in the Shtatrum. Loi Hisna Laim Tolat. Allah Chol Kistam, Aschar Kol Ashuv B'Shav. He wants to say it is Motor Shari. Like we just said earlier, that the issue is that it was Shalai Bavla. Here we're saying it is Bavla. This one she's Behemte Sirlei the Inka. Why? The Aini Yudah is about Kochav Shabbos Machlas Chol Kashiyesh Lei. And he's not asking you. And he brings down the parentheses. The also is Isum Etchilu Kashin Natash. Kesh Nish. That they were in the same partner. Shaylo Lachash Yachse. Babehem Lach Shabbos Havel Nasim Etchilu. He should have made the agreement of Tolatah on Shabbos, and I'm going to get there in the rest of the week. Ayin Sham B'Seisef. The Lamaisa it's still mutter. Omnam Lashon HaShulchan Aruch Mashma Lo Yratzu Lismech Hazel Lamaisa. On this cool about that feel that's a B'Seisef now. The aim is Mishum Shishas Behemtoi. Lamaisa is no Shishas Behemtoi because the guy has a chelik in it and he's not listening to you. Ein lahat elachlik stam achakach. Elo b'mokoim hefsegol. The Mishna Berura wants to say davke b'hefsegol the feed asar amal elber amasid al bagol. Mashma gonna brom the ishlis b'chazeh. Okay, the yiskoiv hadomim. This is going on. What we're doing is he's making a patent, a loophole. He's lending it to him his chelik in the shar. Hainu sheshamay sebedam kifi mashi achshav. You calculate how much is this behemoth worth today. Whether it goes up by Tuzal, everything is yours. It's a regular avot. You still need it to be that he is able to sell it. Why? He's going like the second sheet of Siddalit that we saw. Then in the second sheet, you have to be much more machri. You have to be able to sell it. If you're not able to sell it, it's not considered yours. Another thing we said is like and we said when he's going to make him a poitki. Again, the canal, like you calculate how much it's worth. If here, what's he adding on the Shulchan Aruch? That therefore, so the Mishna Berura clearly says that you don't have Rishus L'Meichra. L'Maisa, it's a little sticky, is because a poitki in a regular scenario is you're able to sell it. However, you have to sell it with a little less value, and the reason why you have to sell with less value is because on the chance that you don't pay up your chayv, he's able to, the original bachayv is able to come back and take your money from there. But here the Mishna Berura does say clearly, afilu hachi, that you don't b'chlal have rishus to sell it. Okay, yaharnim, that's what it means to say is that you make it a mashkin. Perish afa pishenichem biyadi solim mashkin sheyuchal lipar mem kshaleitim esaburam ve'achkach noitol esameni devayd ve'behem afilu hachi shari. He's saying that, let's be real, it's a regular mashkin. So you're giving it to the guy. And in reality, there's nothing changing. It's still the animal. It's still the animal in the Rishus the guy. And he's still using it on Shabbos. So it's only a mashke. He's going to have to give it right back. Still, it's still mutter. Why? That kati gufa behem Rishus ain't yudi. The Maisa doesn't belong. It's not in my Rishus bechlal. However, if he says in that's not a problem. It could be mine. Even the can be from now, because then you have a problem. Because because if you would say ma'achshav, then you have a problem when he doesn't pay you back. It comes out that it was a shvisas behemta because he was working on Shabbos. Let's continue a little more because it was a very short daf, and tomorrow we want to finish the end of Reish Mem Vav. V'yesh matirim, we're jumping back into the top with the last line in Reish Mem Vav and Hey. On Daf Yod, V'yesh matir ma'idei yaza Yisrael hasayini Yudi shalai yasa b'malacha. But he says it brings down Shem Rabbi that as long as you warn the guy that you better not do malacha b'Shabbos, v'miyavar v'yasiti achrayis Allah v'afilu manosim. The second you start working on Shabbos, you're going to accept full responsibility. V'yichtav kein bakar sayim, and you write it in the courts. The hashta and balasas b'malacha b'Shabbos ain't a behemoth Yisrael. The second he starts using it, he's not going to be considered his behemoth. And again, this is going like the first shita in Siv Dalit that says that you don't need as long as Yukar Vizula is good enough. Aidishi has it. So the Mishna Berura v'afa pisha ein loy leini yudu rishus l'machra afilahachi shari. Like we saw, he clearly says this straight out. Kedas hamatir and le'el b'siv dalit lachanami mayrish shekibel ala b'shusai. Le'inyan Yukar Vizula, the same type of concept. Einstein is Makabal Yukar Vizul. So to quickly chazer around what we learned in Siv Dalet and Siv Hey, Siv Dalet we saw two shitas. What is the halacha when you rent out your animal to a guy? So first sheet is, as long as you accept its responsibility of Yaakov, Izol, and everything else, it's fine. The second sheet says it's not good enough. He has to have enough capabilities to sell the animal. And then we saw in Sifhei, in the scenario of Shutz, what do? You're able to discern scenarios that you're able to do to get out of the scenario of working the Shabbos and Jesus Banter. The first option is make it tonight. Very simple, tonight. And therefore, like we learned already in Reish Mem Hey Beis, make it tonight, it's all good. However, if you didn't make it tonight, you have a problem. It's also even if afterwards you make it tonight. However, and then we saw a few other mahalchim how to do it is by you lend out, you have your par that's worth $200, and you give him the value, your shutav is worth $100, you give it to him as a halva. And we brought down, even if you make it a poitiki, which makes it in essence he's not able to sell it, it's still not a problem. And then the other mahalach is, or a mashkin. And the Mishna Berura explains still, the Maisa Kati, his lashon was that Kati Gufa Behem B'Shus Eini Yudivi, even though it's real loophole, that's nothing's really in reality changing, it's still mutter. And another thing we brought down, the Yishmatirim want to say that as long as you threaten the guy who's a shut, if you tell him if you're going to do in the Malacha on Shabbos, you're going to accept yourself upon Einsim, then it's mutter and you write it in its courts. And we explained to the Mishna Berura that it's going like the first Shita of the Yishmatirim that it is mutter.